Sponsored by the Glass Jug. Located just off State Road 55 in Durham, the Glass Jug is the only place in the Triangle where you can browse a selection of hundreds of different craft beers, sit and enjoy one of 16 different beers on tap, and then take home a counter-pressure-filled growler of your favorite draft beer. Their growler filling technology ensures beer freshness and carbonation for much longer than growlers filled from the tap. Join the Glass Jug for free tasting events every Thursday at 5 p.m. We'll see you at the Glass Jug.
Hi, I'm Glenn, Dave's behind the camera. We're the NC Beer Guys, and welcome to another episode of the NC Beer Buzz. We have never had to come to Shelby to talk about beer, but we had to come to Shelby now because guess what? There's a brand new brewery coming to Shelby fairly soon. We're in a beautiful space, downtown Shelby, South Lafayette Street, about a block from the Don Gibson Theater, which is actually that way, and a block from the old courthouse, which is now the Earl Scruggs.
Yep, the Earl Scruggs Center.
Right, great. And we're in with Jordan, who is the brewery manager, and Lewis, who's the head brewmaster, and they're co-partners and founders, and they're basically the heart and passion behind the place. There's some money guys too, but these guys are who this place is going to be about. We are so happy to be here and want to catch what's going on here before they open. So we're looking at like a mid-August opening.
We are probably the second week in August right now.
So be sure, viewers, when you get to town after August, that you find your way uptown to the Uptown District in Shelby. Get off the highway, for God's sakes. Come downtown to the old downtown, actually, which is Uptown, and check out the Newgrass Brewing Company. Thanks for having us in.
Yeah, thanks for coming to see us. It's good to see you guys again.
We're in an old Hudson Belt building.
We are.
That we have done great things with. So let's first talk about the facility. We must have got a grant or some kind of downtown development support.
Sure. So this building is 106 years old. It was built in 1909. It was the old Hudson department store. We're really excited to have this facility because everybody in the county shopped here growing up as children. I wasn't old, or I'm young, I guess too young to have shopped here.
Oh, the department store was already closed before you knew any reality downtown.
Correct. So it was vacant for 10 years before we opened this facility. It was like a jewelry store before we came in here. But we have taken all kinds of old historic things from the county and incorporated it into our facility. And
reclaimed so much of what was here and went back to the natural, original, organic experience of the building.
Correct.
Yeah, exactly. For the Uptown Main Street grant that we received, we had to keep certain things to get that grant. So the cubed glass, the aluminum on the outside of the building, stuff that necessarily we might not have wanted to keep in the beginning of this process. We ended up keeping because of the grant, and now that we couldn't be happier that we did keep.
Because you're good community partners. You're giving back to the community. You're taking what was here and making the most of it for the future. I mean, that's what it's all about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean, these floors, you would be tough pressed to find somebody in this county that did not have a relative that worked.
Because the hardwood came from where?
So the hardwood's from the Dover Mill, which was the largest employer at one time in Cleveland County. So
a textile mill?
Yep.
Okay.
It was a textile mill, and right?
Yeah, roughly, I think about 500,000 square feet.
Okay.
So. Yeah. So all of the flooring you see on the second floor mezzanine area, the wood you see behind the stage, on the bar, is all reclaimed wood, over 100 years old. It's heart pine. And it originally was flooring in the Dover Mill. So we did have a really neat story from the milling of this wood. As Walker Woodworking, the guys that did all of this for us, were going through it, they had their metal detector going over a big chunk of wood. So each piece of wood that they reclaimed was cut into 5 different pieces of wood for our use. So they were going over it with the metal detector, and all of a sudden they hear beep, 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 and they don't see any nails, any screws or anything.
So what's going on?
Well, they chunked straight into it and found a musket ball in the wood that had to have been shot into a tree before the original milling. So expect to see maybe a blunderbuss beer on the menu.
That's right, or a musket ball reference somewhere along the way.
Exactly. And we'll have that musket ball hopefully on display in here.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
So what are we going to do with the venue now? We've got a brewery going here. We're going to have food. We're going to talk about both of those. We've also got a stage presence, so we're going to have live music, live events. And is all that new to Uptown, or we?
Yes, so we are the first craft brewery in Cleveland County. So it is very new. Craft beer has been around probably for about 6 to 7 years here in our area when you started to see it pop up. So yes, all of that is new. We hope to help kind of educate our county on what craft beer is and why it's important to us, why we make beer. Also, we do have a stage for live music. There are tons of musicians in Cleveland County with the Earl Scruggs Center and the Don Gibson Theater.
Yeah, we're right. How can you not go with the music?
It is a music district.
And honor the tradition and history of the county and the guys who brought you to where you are.
Exactly. And so with all the local musicians, they don't have anywhere to really just play. So we hope to create that space.
And kind of an informal pop-up kind of setting sometimes.
Yep,
just
exactly.
a natural, it just happens kind of music place.
Exactly.
But that's not a second thought at that. You know, I mean, there are some good restaurants and craft beer bars here, and they do have music, you know, but there's not a stage, you know, for that. So we feel like really giving these musicians
stepping it up a little
to
bit, right?
Showcase their talent, you know, in an informal setting is something that has been, you know, missing from Shelby that we look forward to putting back into the community.
So a lot of people do breweries that don't do food.
Right.
You decide to do food. What's the food experience going to be like?
Sure. So we'll have a lot of small plate or shared plate items on our menu. It'll just be a one-page menu, very simple, but that very much so ties into our craft beer. So we want to have food that matches the quality of the beer we make. So it will be high-end food, as much farm to table as possible when available.
Local sourced, if you can do that.
Yep, so we are working with Poverty Creek Farms here in the area that's taking all of our spent grain, feeding it to the animals that they're farming. In turn, we will have their products available in our kitchen. Also, we have an awesome farmers market here in Shelby. They're here Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday, so expect on those days to see a special related to what's available at the farmers market.
You want to give a shout out to the chef?
Oh yeah, Jason Walker. We've got an awesome chef. We're really lucky to have him and expect to see some wonderful things on our menu.
Yeah, I mean, he went to culinary school in Vermont, big craft beer guy, so anybody that likes a heady topper, you know, is friends with me, that's for sure.
Right. Good.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the beer. We're all about the beer. There'll be some flagships, I guess.
Yeah.
Do you know what they are yet?
Yeah, so flagships, we're going to have Saison, Pale Ale, IPA, Oatmeal Porter, an alt beer, and what am I missing here? The Lily Bean Stout.
Golden Stout.
Golden Stout, which is a golden stout with cold coffee extract from right around the corner, Lily Bean Coffee Shop.
Yeah.
It also has cocoa nibs and vanilla bean in it.
Right.
So yeah.
And then some small batches and one-offs, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. So our summer seasonals, well, for the rest of the summer, we'll have a Belgian Blonde, Session IPA, a Berliner Weiss, a Gosa, and that'll kind of finish us out until we rotate those with the fall seasonals, which will be a Pumpkin Saison with figs and raisins and a Marzen. So
that's great. So
that we will run through a Randall of liver mush during the Liver Mush Festival.
I don't know. But
Okay.
now,
So
see, I'm from Eastern North Carolina, and we don't really do liver mush. But my wife's from Cabarrus County, so she knew liver mush all her life. I've never developed a capacity
so Shelby
to
is
eat.
the capital for liver mush in North Carolina.
All right.
It is actually promoted by the state of North Carolina. So we have a liver
So
mush
Don
festival.
Gibson, Earl Scruggs, and liver mush.
Yeah, of course.
And Newgrass.
And Newgrass.
I knew that. And now we're putting a new name on the Cleveland County map.
Yeah, absolutely. So we do have this awesome liver mush festival that happens here. That brings
Well, you're
like
kinda serious about this.
Oh no, I was raised on eating liver mush.
All right.
One of my favorite
Now,
foods.
my viewers, you got to break away a minute. This is a look at the camera moment. Wait till I get Dave on liver mush. I know from Long Island by way of Florida, he'll never know what liver mush eating.
It's the pate of the South.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Remember that, Dave, when you're choking it down. So, what's the system we're going to brew all this great beer on?
So we've got a 7-barrel direct fire natural gas system. We've got 2 7-barrel fermenters, 2 15-barrel fermenters, and a bright tank for each. They all came from Deutsche Beverage Technology, which
Out of
is
Charlotte.
Exactly.
If you've watched our videos, we've done a video with those guys. They're great guys in Charlotte. And again, keeping it fairly local. You're supporting local people doing good work.
Exactly. And while we're on the local thing, just to back up, I guess, for a second with the beer, a lot of our one-offs will be based around Riverbend malt, which I know you're familiar with,
Right.
Asheville, North Carolina. Most of the grain that they mill is North Carolina, and a little bit is grown in Virginia.
And you said as you were going to be able to get hops, you would do hops local too when you can get them. Of course, that's a challenge for all of us.
Exactly, and I mean with the benefit of White Labs moving in on Asheville, I mean pretty soon between White Labs and Southeast, I mean there'll be a opportunity to brew a lot of beer that is all Carolina grown ingredients.
So let's talk about site selection. You came to Shelby for a reason, but now we're like an hour and a little bit from Asheville, and not even an hour from Charlotte. Is that right?
Right, exactly.
So when you think about both of those being such thriving craft beer communities, but yet nobody had planted themselves here in Cleveland County or in Shelby. Was that a conscious decision you made to come here and do something brand new?
Sure. So how it kind of started, we were both at separate breweries before, and there were investors here in Shelby that had already purchased this building and had the idea of having a craft brewery here. With me being born and raised in Shelby, and then Lewis's mother is actually from Shelby.
And he said he had other family still around, right?
It just made sense to kind of come together and create this brewery.
And put your roots down here in the community and give back to the community that kind of brought you where you can
Exactly.
be.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
Came right
My
back around.
grandfather owned a small business less than a mile down the road, so
Yeah.
nothing really could make me happier than.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and you know, both of my parents worked in the Uptown district as well, so it's really
It's
neat
familiar
be
to you. It
home.
feels like it, doesn't
Well,
it?
and the community's been so supportive here. Everybody's
great.
really excited about having their own craft brewery because there's so many people that do drive to Charlotte and to Asheville to get that experience.
In Morganton, even.
Yeah, Morganton to Fontaflora. But what's really neat is now they can kind of have something in their own hometown that they're proud of and can go talk about in other
Right.
communities and say, hey, we have one of those too. So.
That's great. One thing I'll back up too. We didn't talk about now we're gonna have a little outdoor space too, right beside us. As of just last week, they've closed what used to be some through street, and it's going to be just an open air pedestrian area. Is that right?
Sure. So they repurposed this alleyway.
That's the word I couldn't think of. Repurposed.
Yeah, and they've made it pedestrian friendly. So what we'll do is we'll have lights strung up across all of it, and then half of that alleyway will become our beer garden. So we'll have some outdoor seating, hopefully have some live music out there some days when it's beautiful out, acoustic music,
Right.
and just a place for people to hang out and, you know, enjoy the Uptown area a little bit more. There are places uptown that have outdoor seating, and it's been very popular. So
Good.
we hope to help grow that and be a part of what's already happening here.
That's just so exciting. I don't know how you guys even sleep at night.
I know, I don't sleep
we
at
don't.
night.
I mean, it's
And when I do, I'm dreaming about being in here.
Well, yeah, I mean, well, you're here so much, I'm sure that happens. But the energy that you two put off and the facility is just beautiful, and you've done so much work already. I know you can't wait for the next evolution to see the customers come in the door and actually to see it happen, because it's been such a dream and a vision. So it's just
yeah.
great to
Thank
feel
you.
what's coming off of you guys. We should say that.
Oh, thanks
Thank
so
you.
much, Glenn.
Thanks for having us in.
Yeah, thanks for coming to see us.
So we'll remind you again, craft beer lovers, when you are now either in Charlotte or Asheville and want to get off the beaten path or going from one to the other, make sure you hit down Uptown District of Shelby and check out the Newgrass Brewing Company. Come in, say hi to Jordan or Lewis, and tell them the NC Beer Guy sent you. This is Dave and Glenn for another episode of NC Beer Buzz. Until next time, remember, drink local and keep your beer dollars in North Carolina.